Welcome to Life Intelligence. I am Valentina, and today I'll tell you what it feels like to be in an intimate relationship with a narcissist, whether you're just dating or you're in a long-term relationship. And towards the end of the video, I'll give you a few tips on what you can do to stay sane and safe in those relationships. So right off the bat, let me tell you that not all narcissists are diagnosed with a narcissistic personality disorder, mainly because a narcissist is so full of themselves that they will never voluntarily submit to diagnosis. Unless the court orders them to go to a therapist, it's unlikely that they'll show up in a therapist's office and say, I don't know what's wrong with me. Can you help me out? So just because they're not diagnosed with a narcissistic personality disorder, it doesn't mean they're off the hook. If people have the characteristics, they are harmful to you, to themselves, and to everyone around them. So let's say you're just now starting to date and you meet this amazing person and they do everything right. They say the right things, they make you feel great, they tell you you're smart, you're beautiful, or you're handsome. You always dress perfectly. I mean, you just can't do anything wrong. They make you feel like a star. They show up during your lunch break and they bring you something special. They check up on you. They give you lots of attention. And 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks later, or whenever, suddenly, little jokes, little jabs, criticisms, suddenly your makeup is not perfect, or you're gaining weight, or they find ways to criticize you and start feeling like you're walking on eggshells and you can't really do anything right. You don't know how to please them anymore. The things that used to work don't work. They're more interested in their phone and they're busier at work. They're canceling dates. Suddenly you're not that important. You're like a supportive, unappreciated supportive actor in their life. Unappreciated supportive actor. And you go, what happened to the other person? Like the person that wooed me in. Well, you just moved from the love bombing phase into the devaluating phase. And you have certainly feel self-doubt and you feel uncertain and you feel inadequate, not good enough. And that goes on for a while until you decide, okay, I didn't sign up for this. I don't have that much invested in this relationship. I don't know what's going on, if it's me, if it's them. I'll quit. I quit. I just straight up quit, and you move on. Or they decide you're no longer interesting. They maybe met somebody else that they like better and they discard you. So you went from the love bombing phase to the devaluation phase to the discarding phase. And since you're not married, you're just dating, that's obviously you split up. And then they start to hover around your life, especially if you do really well on your own. They suddenly pop up everywhere you go. You see them, like they're mingling with your friends, they're texting you, they're sending you a picture telling you, hey, remember when we did this? It was amazing. They could straight up tell you, oh, I regret splitting up. Can we get back together? If you dump them, you might start thinking, gosh, I made a mistake. I don't know. Maybe I should get back with this person. Next thing you guys are together. Next thing you know, you get together again. And another love bombing phase begins. So you completed the circle. But guess what comes after the love bombing phase? You get devaluated again. And the whole thing can repeat itself once or twice. Maybe you learn your lesson, and after the second time you never go back. Maybe you just never give them a second chance. Kudos to you. If you're married, if you're in a long-term relationship with this person, that same dynamic kind of plays out, but a little bit differently because you actually cohabitating and it's a little more complicated. But you will have these phases again where, like, after they devalue you, make you feel like shit, you have a big fight, and you don't talk to each other for a while. Maybe you move out to your parents or something. And then they come around and they need you. They need you because they need constant reassurance, they need validation, they need admiration, they need somebody to boss around. So they'll come around and like try to apologize. They don't really apologize. We'll get into that a little later, but they'll try to get you back in and eventually, show you that they mean it. So there will be another love bombing phase and you'll just keep going like this ad nauseum. It's like, I don't know, if you're married for many years, you probably already know the pattern. So one way they keep you interested and they keep you hanging and they keep you going and staying with them is through future faking. So future faking is when they tell you what you want to hear about the future. So they'll be telling like, yeah, we should get married in Hawaii. Or they'll say things like, oh, when I get this new job, I'll have more time for you and the family. Or when I get this promotion or this business takes off, I'll have more money and then I can buy you the new car or we can get a new house. So they'll tell you things about the future that they know are important to you. That'll be the carrot that you follow. And they have no intention of fulfilling these promises. Usually they don't. If anything actually gets done, it's because they wanted it, not because of you. But they'll keep using the strategy and you'll feel hopeful and yeah, I would like to experience this. And then you invest more in them. Future faking is a form of promise breaking. On daily, they will break promises. They don't even have to talk about the future. It'll be like, tonight we're going to dinner, I'm taking you out for your birthday, and then 4 o'clock rolls around and they text you, sorry, I gotta work extra hours today. And then like, shit, there goes the dinner, They will break promises regularly, which will frustrate you. And you will try to fix the problem. So you'll try to find ways to make them follow through. And chances are you will be unsuccessful. And that in itself feels awful because you're just going to think, I don't know what to do with this person. I don't know if it's me or if it's them. You start feeling like you don't deserve it. They'll probably tell you that you don't deserve it. Because when they break a promise, it's not going to be their fault, And if you raise a fuss, they'll guilt trip you into thinking like, why am I criticizing them? They're doing the best they can. I'm not being fair. So you'll turn it on you. You will self-blame for them breaking their promises. That's how it works. And they feel very entitled. So yeah, they're entitled to your time. They're entitled to your attention, your resources. They're entitled to multiple partners sometimes. So you see them cheating. And that's because they have an insatiable need for admiration, validation, attention. And so one person is not enough sometimes. Other times affairs give them that opportunity to feel special again. Like they've been with you for a while, so maybe you're not feeling them that special anymore. I don't know what kind of excuse they come up with. But when you retaliate, you cause them to escalate. So if you call them on something that they're doing, whether it's an affair, breaking a promise, or in other ways disrespecting you, or whatever they're doing, if you don't roll over, they will retaliate against you and they will punish you. They are so entitled. They expect you to roll over. They're rolling all over your boundaries. They have no intention to honor your boundaries, even if you had them, because let's face it, narcissists are really good at picking out their victims. It's not like they sit there mentally calculating who they should go out with. It's more an intuitive, instinctive way, just like a fish knows how to swim around things in the water. They locate people with trauma in their lives, people that have had it as children, or they've had turbulent relationships as adults, and they're somewhat wounded. So a relationship with a narcissist is frequently a trauma bonding experience. So that's how they can come across as the savior, the knight in shining armor. At first, they want to, show you the best because they'll tell you deserve it. So they'll kind of make you feel like, no, I deserve better, and they are better. So they will trauma bond with you. Therefore, they're not going to respect your boundaries, even if you had them in first place. And if you retaliate against them, they will try to punish you. And they can punish you through passive aggressive behavior. They can punish you through anger and violence. They can punish you through emotional blackmail. If you don't do this, I will do this. So they will give you consequences of some sort that are random and you're thinking there. So you got these selfish, unrealistic needs and expectations. But if I don't do this, anyways, you see what I'm saying. They will emotionally blackmail you. The worst form of that is when you decide, okay, I need a break, I need time off, I need to go over and hang out with my parents for a week just to get you off my hair, or I'm gonna divorce you. And then they go, if you leave me, I will kill myself, I will hurt myself. And then you feel obligated to maintain their well-being somehow. You feel responsible, you feel guilty for them, and that's why it's called emotional blackmail. They will project what they feel and their bad behavior on you as if you did it. So let's say you're having a conversation, you're having some kind of a confrontation, and they go, why are you acting so angry at me? Why are you so angry with me? And you'll be like, wait, I'm frustrated, I'm trying to resolve the situation, I'm not sure I'm angry. They're the angry ones. They're projecting it on you. They will blame you for anything they did. Like they were late for work. The alarm went off. They hit the snooze button. They didn't wake up. They were late for work. They got fired. Let's say that's like the emptiest time they got late for, so they got fired. It's your fault. They got fired because you didn't wake them up that morning. And you're like, what? You set the alarm. You put the snooze button on. Like, how's that my fault? Well, it's your fault because you didn't wake them up, or maybe you kept them up all night last night, so like they couldn't get up. Somehow it's your fault that they got fired. So they will project their bad behaviors, their shortcomings, their emotional states onto you. They will deny. When you flat out call them on something, when you point something out, they will deny it any way they can. And I'll give you an example because I used to be married to one of those. So I found out these emails he was writing to his ex-girlfriend while married to me that were not exactly the kind of emails you should be writing to your ex-girlfriend when you are happily married. So I brought it up and I'm like, okay, so now what about that? And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Flat out denial. I mean, the evidence is right there, black and white. Nope, I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm going, but there's these emails. And then he goes, oh, that's old. That's really old. No, that's really old. You're just making, a mountain out of a molehill. And I'm like, but wait. On the email, there's a date. That was yesterday. And then all hell breaks loose because it goes from, I don't know what you're talking about, to, oh no, total dismissal. That's old stuff, to, what are you doing snooping into my stuff? and it goes into, now you're gonna piss me off. It's not what it looks like. You're just trying to start a fight. So it's my fault. I'm just trying to start a fight. That he wrote explicit, erotic, inappropriate emails to his ex-girlfriend. So that's how they operate, but they do not take responsibility for themselves. So that will be very frustrating to you. You would at least want an apology, because an apology is like a closure. It's satisfying. Okay, now you can trust that you can move on together, that you can work together, that they understand you. At the most, if you ever get an apology from your narcissistic partner, it's not going to be a sincere apology. They're going to say what they think they need to say to appease you, to move on, to get to the next thing, to fulfill their needs. It's not going to be because they care, because narcissists have no empathy. The whole disorder or non-disorder, even if they're not diagnosed, they don't have empathy. And to sincerely apologize requires empathy. You're putting yourself in the other person's shoes. And you sincerely, from the depths of your heart, feel bad for causing them suffering and causing them problems. So the apology you may get from a narcissist, if you ever get one, is gonna feel shallow and unsatisfying. But you might have to take it as it is, because you're not gonna get anything more. If you're looking for more empathy and more validation, no. They are narcissists. If anything, they're more interested in degrading your self-esteem. You know, the gaslighting everybody's talking about. Gaslighting is, on one hand, degrading your self-esteem and devaluing you constantly, and on the other hand, telling you what reality is, what you should believe, how things are. And so you experience cognitive dissonance. Like, you have the reality they offer, and you have the reality you think you understand. You start questioning your own reality, and at the same time you're trying to appease them, you are making excuses for them, you're rationalizing their behavior, you're blaming yourself for causing the confrontation or whatnot, and they literally power over you. They literally take over your being. And from your perspective, it's depressing. You feel hopeless, you feel helpless, you feel disempowered, in addition to disoriented, confused, to your cognitive dissonance. So you're in a storm of confusing, toxic, emotional distress. And when that happens, you might withdraw within yourself. You might try every way you can to appease them, just so there's peace in the house. You might turn to destructive behaviors like self-harming, drugs, alcohol. These are coping mechanisms, might be the only ones you feel that you have left, because at the same time, the narcissist isolated you. That's part of their strategy. As they devalue you and they isolate you, they can control you. How do they isolate you? In more than one way. One way is when they're out there in the community with you, they show their best, most charming face forward. So if you have troubles here at home and you go out to talk about it with your friends, family, they look at you and they go, what is wrong with you? You just got the best person in your life. You just need to learn how to practice gratitude. So you have no one to go to. People think you're the crazy one. And as you feel that low self-esteem and you start withdrawing within yourself, you start hiding from the world. So by isolating you, they turn to be the only thing in your life, which means you can't leave them, because what then? If that's all you have, and if you try to leave them, what then? And then they will try to use that against you. They will threaten to leave you unless you comply. Yeah, not nice. You'll end up blaming yourself for everything. You'll end up just miserable. You will end up exhibiting physiological symptoms of stress because you're under a lot of stress. They're emotionally manipulating you, they're doing all these things. So you might feel, you're getting skin rashes, your blood pressure goes up, you can't sleep at night. You ruminate because your mind is trying to process your perception juxtaposed against the reality they offer you, and at the same time trying to figure out if it's you, if it's them. So it's a lot of mental absorption. You're ruminating on what happened, what you said, could have said, done, could have done. You feel like your mind is attached with an umbilical cord to that person. No matter where you are, you're just completely attached to that person, which diminishes your focus, your work performance, and just your life satisfaction goes down. And obviously, it's a very unpleasant place to be. Impose that on the cycle that I described earlier, and you go through this as a phase. So there will be another moment of love bombing. Things get really bad. They'll come around. And anyways, what can you do about this? So before I go on, give me the thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then hit the notification button if you want to get the next one when it comes out. So what can you do about this? If you're just dating, the most obvious thing you could do is just leave and don't look back, right? But if you're married or if you're cohabitating, having children, that kind of stuff, what can you do to remain in a relationship with a narcissist without blowing your brains out? So, number one, practice radical acceptance. That means you accept the way they are, not condoning it. You're accepting the way they are and you're drawing the line. This is not me, it's them. You don't blame yourself for their behavior. You understand that they're not going to change. The hope, the future faking, and all that stuff that they offer you is fake. They're not going to change. This is how things are going to be. You need to go into crisis management mode and save yourself. By accepting that that's the way they are and they're not going to change, is going to alleviate some of the self-blame, guilt, and the things that you are absorbing, internalizing. So you'll feel a little more free to be more objective with who you are and how you are. Then immediately what you need to do is find a therapist or a trusted friend that's hopefully not mesmerized by your narcissistic partner, can be objective with you, can give you their honest perspective on the situation and provide you with moral support. So therapist usually is the best option, but if it's not an option, then friends, family, somebody else. So you have that outside perspective. So you can validate your own perceptions and your own version of reality versus having to comply to theirs. Then what you do is you have a group of friends or a club or something that you can physically go to, and club around some interest, walking club or whatever, hobbies, something that you can have your own time. And during that time with your own people, in your own space kind of thing, you can start feeling who you are. You can, you're not constantly bombarded by the narcissist and in their environment under their expectations. That will give you internal strength. to find your way. You can journal, make sure they don't find your journal. And having your own interest is super important because you will develop your own personality more, or you will revert to your own personality that you might have left behind thanks to years of living with a narcissist. And you basically manage the situation until you can get out, because that may not be something that you can do immediately. But if you're inspiring to get out, you can plan your escape on the background while you're maintaining yourself, and meanwhile avoiding the narcissist, avoiding the conflict with the narcissist. So one way to do that is just being upfront about like your boundaries. Like you don't tell them at the moment when they're demanding something of you that now you have this boundary, because that's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to be a fight. But what you do is always ahead of time telling them, when are you going to be gone? What are you going to be doing? So they don't take it personally. And then when they demand your time or demand your attention during the place and time that you told them you're not going to be available, you don't turn it around and say, hey, I told you so, because you never productively make a narcissist feel stupid or bad. What you do is you avoid them. So you say things like, oh, wow, I'm so sorry. I had this other commitment. We talked about it. I let you know about it, but I really need to do this other thing now. But I'm happy to be there for you. I'm looking forward to, whatevers. Can we do that on Wednesday? I'll be there 100% for you. You push it out there a few days, whatever. Chances are by the time the time comes around, they forgot all about it. They're all more in the moment, kind of instant gratification characters. So you kick the can down the road, avoiding the confrontation and going to do your own thing as much as you can. There will still be times when there will be conflict and all that, but you have to manipulate them. Don't feel bad about it. They'll be manipulating you all this time. So there's a lot more you could do. You can develop more tools, learn communication skills, so on and so forth. That's why you work with a therapist or a life coach or somebody who knows these things, especially somebody who's familiar with narcissists. That way you sort of like get more tools under your tool belt, and you get ready, and you can preserve your sanity and maybe leave the person eventually. You're not stuck with them for life. We have options these days. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up if you liked it. Please share. Give me some comments down below if I missed something, your own experiences. I will read them all. I appreciate them all. Thank you for watching.